Hey everyone, it's Bryony. I don't know why I'm putting my headphones in actually, I've just realised. Don't need them for this. I'm thinking I'm on a Skype call, obviously. So yeah, welcome to this live event. Oh, have I muted that? Yes, I have. Yeah, so this is actually kind of like a secretive live event because I haven't posted anything about it on Instagram or Facebook. So only those of you who get notifications through YouTube or who have paid attention or come to my channel in the last hour or so would have spotted it. So hopefully we'll get a few people joining us and maybe it'll be a smaller crowd, who knows. But yeah, also I think I've got an abscess forming on my tooth, so excuse me while I drink frequently. Not fun. I refuse to go before Christmas though. Anyway, so yeah, this is just a live Q&A. You can go ahead, ask questions, menstrual related, anything related. It's going to be a short one. I'm only going to do half an hour tonight because it is late. I did intend to do it earlier, but then I completely forgot I have choir practice. So yeah, let's have a look at how many of you are there in the live chat. And I said I'm going to just stick to this live chat because I haven't posted anything anywhere else, Facebook, Twitter, or any of that. So, oh yeah, as of course, if you're not familiar with our live chats, I'd love to hear where you guys are from, so tell me in the comments. And I'm only going to track the live chat down here. So how many have we got now? Oh, we've got, oh wow, okay, 674 watching already. Awesome. We will get going with all the questions. So feel free to put any of your questions, whether it's menstrual cup related, cloth pad related, any questions you want to ask me. I don't know what it'll be about, but still go ahead. So hi everyone, hi from Michigan, hello, hey everyone. All these lovely hellos. Hi from Cambridge. Okay, first question. What cup would you recommend for beginners? Really depends on your age, hon. If you are younger, I would definitely recommend like a small classic Maluna with the classic stem. For kind of teens, it's a great first starter cup. It's not too expensive. On my website, we sell it for £11.75. I think, and you know, so it's one of the cheaper cups, and it lasts you at least a good 3 years. It doesn't last as long as some of the other cups, but it's a great starter cup, and it's how I got into menstrual cups. So that's what I'd recommend. Hi, Bryony. What do you advise me to do if I have really irregular periods? So if you're brand new to periods, if they've only been going for 2 or 3 years, don't worry about it. It's completely normal. What I would say is if you are trying to get them more regular, an idea is maybe to take something called, if they're quite short, you can take something called Agnus Castius from around the time you ovulate, which is day 14 of your cycle. You want to get a period tracker app to make sure you can see how long it is. And you just take one of those tablets in the evening every day leading up until you get to the 28th day, and that can help make your cycles longer if they're quite short. If they're quite long, I'm not too sure. If you, as I said, if you're new, don't worry about it. They should even themselves out over a couple of years. You don't really need to worry about it unless they're significantly longer than 28 days. So I'd say a normal range is kind of between 26 and 34 days. Depends on each individual though. Let me see. What's your favorite dance you've ever done? Oh, that's a good question. What's my favorite dance I've ever done? There was one dance that I really enjoyed that was really difficult that I did. It was to You Can't Stop the Beat and Hairspray, and it was, I was 9 when I did that, and I had to do it with the seniors who were all much older than me, and I had to really keep up with them, but I was so proud of myself for being the little one in that dance, and I got thrown up in the air, and it was really fun. So that's probably my favorite like group dance I ever did. My favorite solo would have to be one I did too, believe it or not, a variation of Pop Goes the Weasel, which I've never been able to find the version of since then. It was by like the symphony orchestra or something, but it was really like a fun version of it. Oh, okay, right, I've just skipped over it. The problem is if I was scrolling slowly through these questions, I inevitably miss some. We go back, right, where did I get to? Okay, here we go. So hi from Sweden, hi from the USA, hi from Hamburg, Montenegro, wow, everyone. It's from all over. Colorado. I think because I'm doing this one later as well, we've got slightly different people maybe watching. Scotland, Wrexham, USA, Michigan, hello from Hollywood, wow. England, Manchester, Chester, Missouri, Dundee, Scotland, Oregon in the USA. Hey, started using menstrual cups, and I also got a UTI. Oh, that's not pleasant. A UTI, it's okay to keep using a menstrual cup with. If you have a, oh no, wait a second. If you have a yeast infection, don't use a menstrual cup. It's very difficult to kill the yeast. Right, what should I do for menstrual cramps? They are killing right now. Okay, so if you have taken medicine that's not worked, then my next sort of advice is to try taking some magnesium. You can get magnesium salts, you can soak it in the bath. They're really good. Magnesium oil, which you rub into your skin. If you do that, though, be prepared to literally sit on your bed like this for like 20 minutes naked or with a towel over you before you go and wash it off. Because, yeah, just that's not fun. It's really itchy as well sometimes, especially if you've got eczema like me, but that's really good for absorption. You can try drinking raspberry leaf tea if you have any, and hot water bottles are obviously a good start if they're really painful, but ultimately the thing that's only going to get rid of the pain really and truly is pain meds. If you have any, you should probably take some if you haven't already. I'm assuming you would have, though. 5 things anyone new to rumps should know. Ooh. It's an interesting question. So first thing would probably be to know that the 2 main types of RAMPs, reusable menstrual products, are cloth pads and menstrual cups, but there are others as well, like reusable tampons, sea sponge tampons, other things that sort of branch off of that, but those are the main 2 ones. They're really easy to clean, so don't think that they are going to make your life really difficult. You're not going to have to deal with any of the smells that you used to deal with disposable pads, because cloth pads are odorless, and so menstrual cups actually, provided you don't leave them in for too long. If you leave them in for more than like 12 hours, they will smell because the oxygen supply has been cut off. And what's another good for? There's so many things you see. You could tell somebody about reusable menstrual products. They're better for the environment because they last around 10 years. And what's another good one that we could share on that front? So there's so many good things. I want to get a good one in for like number 5. They're cute. I mean, that's a pretty good one. They're much more comfortable and they look cute. It's probably 6 things, but I'll make it 5. Hi from Kent. Hi from Canada. Well, how long have you had your cloth pads for? Good question. Well, I'm 20 now and I started when I was 15, so 5 years. Hi, Bryony. What's your thoughts on adopting now? I know you really wanted kids, so where are you at with this? That's a very interesting question, actually, because I was never considering adoption. I was wanting to foster, which is different. Fostering, you take children in for a certain number of time, and then they go either back to their family if they can, or they move on to another foster care, or they get put up for adoption. But I have really put that on pause now because I've been looking after so many like families coming through my doors, like with the refugees, that I've sort of had that. The reason I wanted to do it originally is because I never was around kids and I just love kids. But now, of course, I have that with the families that I help out. So I'm not sort of as desperate for it now. I think I'm kind of getting to the point where I'd much rather sort of find somebody and have some time with them and then think about having kids. So that's where I am with that. It's not on my radar anymore, I would say. No, it's still there. It is still there. I still am considering it, but I'm not at the place where I would apply for it right now. Most embarrassing period story. I don't really have one because I don't find periods embarrassing anymore. So, I mean, I haven't leaked since I started using reusable menstrual products. There's only on disposables I did. I guess it would be like when I started my period, I had a really, really heavy period and I'd stuck 2 pads, one in front of the other in my underwear, and I was wearing a tampon in overnight. Don't do that. It's not good for you. And I leaked through all of that. It was so heavy, my first period. Thank goodness they were never like that afterwards. But yeah, that was not fun. I wouldn't say I was embarrassed because I just dealt with it, but yeah. Are tampons bad for your body? They're not great because they're made of very absorbent fibers. And if those fibers get released from the tampon, that goes into your, towards your vagina, which is some of the most absorbent parts of your body. And, well, if that happens, then they can get into your bloodstream and in very rare cases can cause something called toxic shock syndrome. So that's why, personally, I always advocate for menstrual cups because I think if you can, then they're definitely a better choice for you. What cup do you recommend for people with a high cervix? With a high cervix, you're going to want a longer cup. There's not really one particular one I would recommend. There's a couple, like Love Your Body is quite good for a longer cup. What else is quite a good long cup? The organic cup actually is quite long, and so is the Diva cup. And I just did a review on the Lally cup today, and that's got quite a long stem. That's also quite a big cup, so if you're heavy, that'd be good. But yeah, so there's a few suggestions. Since starting on the pill, my period has only been lasting 1 to 2 days. Is that normal? That is probably quite normal, because when you're on the pill, you're not actually having proper periods, like you're not ovulating and then releasing. Well, there's one pill where you will still ovulate, but you're most likely not ovulating anymore. So it's what we call like a simulated period, essentially. You're not actually bleeding, it's just yeah, that's why you can actually skip the sugar pills and take them continuously, but that is normal, don't worry about it. Need help picking a cup. I'm 19 tomorrow and I've given birth. My period is a little heavier than regular. Any suggestions? As it's in my head because I reviewed it today, the Lally cup medium might be a good cup for you because that's quite a good size for capacity, and it's also intended for after birth. But really any of the like size 2 cups, like Ruby cup size 2, Lunette model 2, what's another good one? Lena, they're all good cups that you could consider in their larger models. If you've already had a baby, then don't worry about your age. It's more like the capacity you need. Is my UTI related to a menstrual cup? I've never had a UTI before the cup. Very unlikely, because your menstrual cup goes in your vagina and the UTI will affect your bladder and your urethra, which is a separate hole. But it could be linked, so maybe like take a break from the menstrual cup while you deal with the UTI, because if it's painful, then you don't want to ever put yourself in pain. But wear like breathable underwear. That can sometimes really help. If I mean, it's not an itchy thing, but just having that breathability can really help with like the discomfort. Let me find one. I have irregular periods that last so long, like over a month. My blood goes from brown, then sometimes in between goes from brown to red, but changes in between. But right now I'm bleeding red heavy. My doctor, I think that got cut off. Okay, yes, you probably do want to see a doctor if you haven't already. I think you might have been about to say something there. Brown spot before period is usually a sign of low progesterone. So you might want to take something that helps to regulate that. So in this case, you might want to try taking something called chasteberry or Vitex. It's a natural supplement. It's even safe for pregnancy, actually, which is one of those very few natural supplements that does say it's safe to take in pregnancy. You can take one of those each day, and that might help with making your periods more regular. Something else you can try is evening primrose oil, and also I'm taking something at the moment called DIM and CDG, DIM CDG, and that helps to regulate estrogen. So something else that's quite good for estrogen is to take something called, do you get clots? If you get clots, then you might want to take something called Dong Quai. It's a disgusting supplement. I used to put it in like little gelatin capsules and swallow it because it's so vile. But only take that if you have got quite heavy and clotting periods, and stop it when you start your period. Don't take it the week of your period because it will make periods heavier. But if you're having regular periods at the moment, I would just start with the chasteberry, because it sounds like from the brown, that sounds to me like you've got some problem with your progesterone. Definitely go and get checked out by the doctor though. Did you try the cup with the applicator? I haven't tried that cup yet. They haven't contacted me actually. And I've got so many things here to review. Unless a company comes to me, I haven't got the time at the moment to go and actually ask them, oh, hey, can you send me a sample of this? So yeah, but not at the moment, but maybe in the future. What advice do you have to get the men in my life to stop acting like babies when they hear the word period? Oh, Luna, this is the question, isn't it? How do we get it? Hang on 1 second. How do we get the men to stop? Well, I've been quite lucky because most of the men in my family are all right. Although having said that, I had a situation a couple months back where both my uncles on my mum's side of the family actually were at having dinner at my parents' house. One of them happens to live in Australia, so he'd come over for something else, I don't know, and my other uncle lives in London. And we were all having dinner, and I was like, I think on my period, or something had happened where I couldn't do something because of my period. Oh, I know what it was. In the pool on holiday, I'd been to Malta, and I'd got my period there. And so I hadn't gone in the pool because, you know, cramps and all that kind of stuff. And so I just stood there, and my uncle was like, you know, I can't remember what it was, but said something teasing, and I went, oh no, it's because of my period, you know, like the menstrual cramps are really bad or whatever. And he went, okay, you know, too much information, but not okay, but okay. And I went, well, you would have teased me. If I hadn't said anything, you would have just teased me. So I'm going to stand up for myself if you're going to make a joke about it. And then he kind of shut up about it. So I find it, you know, just to be really to the point. If it's a situation like that, then you'll be, you know, where they were like, oh, I don't want to hear about your period. You say, well, if I didn't tell you and I had just hadn't decided you know, and I decided not to do something, you'd have teased me about being like a wuss or whatever about it. And I have a legitimate reason for not going. So if you're not comfortable with hearing about periods, don't even think about teasing me of it. Just assume that's the reason. But it's a very difficult one. So yeah, I think the honest answer is just talk about them more. Just have to be like, get over yourself. It's a period. You have to deal with it. I'm going to talk about it from now on. It's the best way to get guys to get over it. Okay, I'm going to skip on a little bit through the questions because there's a few been posted recently and I don't want this to get too long. I got my first period on Monday and my mum only gets 4-day periods, but yet today is still my heaviest day and it's Blowing Friday. What's going on? You might have heard me say earlier, but my first period was really heavy. It's very normal for your first period to be either really light, really heavy, kind of average, but especially really heavy. So how long did my first period last? My first period lasted 8 days and now my periods last, about 5? And I only have a heavy day, a moderate day, a light day, and 2 spotting days. So it doesn't stay that way, don't worry. Don't even worry about like the heaviness or the regularity of it unless it's super, super heavy, until like a year or 2 after you started. It'll settle down then. I reckon by your second period it'll be much better though. I always feel like I can't get pregnant when I'm older. I'm 16 now. Do you think I'm right with the feeling that, or am I just paranoid? I'm completely fine, but I just have a feeling. Well, to be perfectly honest, Christiane, I kind of had the same not the feeling that I'm not going to be fertile, but this worry that I'm not going to be. The truth is, we can't do anything about it right now, unless you have a legitimate reason, like you're in pain, you're having a very irregular period, or there's something that's signifying something's wrong. I wouldn't worry about it until you're older. Because if you're getting enough exercise, you're eating well, you're keeping your body going, everything else is working fine, then you're probably going to be all right, unless there's something underlying there. But for the moment, you know, it's not something to worry about unless you have another issue that you think is also causing that. Are you comparing cups? Do you think? No, I'm not. Sorry, I will try and do another live cup comparison at some point. It requires a lot of organisation, that, because I have a drawer down here full of cups and a drawer up there full of cups, so it's just everywhere. Okay, hi Bryony. I've been using reusable menstrual products for over a year now. Last month I used a disposable pad and it burnt me. Is it possible to become allergic to disposable pads? It's very possible for you to get a rash from a disposable pad, that's for sure. Burn, I've heard of less. It might have been if you'd used a typical disposable that had the polyacrylate crystals in it, then it's very possible you got burned from that. That's the stuff that if it leaks out of nappies will burn kids quite badly. So it's possible that actually was what burnt you rather than an allergic reaction. If you do need to use disposables for any reason, try and maybe get your hands on some Natracare or some of the organic brands, just to have as an emergency stash, so that you don't have to be in that situation again. Who was that? Somebody said that I'm just following a conversation trail from somebody that posted something. Oh, it's the irregular periods one. They told me I need to lose weight and have more iron. Also, my diet is rubbish. Well, if you're overweight and you've got a rubbish diet, that is prime reason for your periods to be irregular and non-stop. That's something we call hypermenorrhea, I think. Amenorrhea, hypermenorrhea? It's either hypermenorrhea or amenorrhea. I'm pretty sure it's hypermenorrhea when you bleed for a long time. And it's very common with people who are overweight. So yeah, the best thing for that is to improve your diet and to try and lose weight by getting more exercise in and eating. Eating better is the key thing, to be honest. More fruits, more vegetables, all that kind of stuff. But again, best to speak to a professional about that. Oh, is there a troll somewhere? I didn't see that comment. I just saw something. later on. Let me come up. Where did I start from? So many questions. I keep losing track. Okay, I'm just going to start from wherever I found it here. How long have you been dancing? Okay, I've been dancing since I was 5, and I just stopped this summer, so it was 15 years. As of right now, like, I don't really miss it. I've been doing martial arts the last couple of months and been really enjoying that, so we'll see. Okay, are cups uncomfortable for... Hang on. Where is it? Keep losing my place. Are cups uncomfortable for first-time users? If you use plenty of lubricant, they shouldn't be. Withdrawal bleeds. Thank you for the person who helped me out with the name for the pill periods. Yeah, if you're in a pill and you have a period, it's not a proper period. It's what we call withdrawal bleed. That was the word I couldn't remember. Okay, I'm going to skip down a bit because there's been several more questions. Okay. This doesn't apply to me, but just curious. After how long do you think you have to wait after giving birth to use a menstrual cup again? Okay, so you have to wait at least 6 weeks. When the doctor gives you the go-ahead to start being sexually active again, then you can also start using menstrual cups again. But typically speaking, it's best to wait until you've finished your postpartum bleeding. Just use pads for that. And then when your periods actually start up again, then you can use a menstrual cup. You might find that you need to get a different menstrual cup, that it's too small or too big. You never know. Bodies change in different ways, but most likely the cup might be too small, or it might be fine. Some people go straight back to normal. Bryony, could you please make a video about endometriosis? Girls and women really need to know about endo and that it's not normal to be in an immense amount of pain. Yes, this is on my list. The reason I'm pausing on this one is because I have finally got a referral to a gynecologist who I'm going to see. Well, I actually, in the end, went and booked one myself because I'm seeing one on the 8th of January. So I'm hoping within the next few months I might get this sorted out, whether the question of do I have it or not is sorted, and then I'll do a video on it. But while it's possible, I'm going to just leave it for the moment. It's definitely on my list, don't worry. Will you be looking into the symptothermal method, FAM? You could spread body literacy with your channel. I'm not familiar with that term, actually. That's a new one to me, unless this is like the family planning method. Let me know again, and I'll hopefully scroll past it. We've got this is the who's the person that I can't, that's the troll. Okay, blocked them, don't worry guys, I found it at last. You see how far behind I am now. What cup do you recommend for light flow? Well, with a light flow, you can use the same cup as you would with a moderate flow. You don't need a lighter one. But I would recommend just using the small. Hopefully my camera's not shaking too much. I would just recommend using the small size of any cup. So like a small Maluna. A small Maluna is quite good for light flow because it is quite small. Small ruby cup, small lunette. They're all great cups. There's a very small one as well. The lady cup as well is quite small, but that's quite fun. I've just got my first cup, Lena Large. I did a dry run and it went in very quickly and easily, but went high, so I couldn't tell if it had opened all the way up. Any tips? I would wait till you get your period because it's quite common on your period for your cervix to drop lower. And if that's the case, then you might not need to cut the stem and it might be very easy to reach. If it does go up higher, then the best way to do is try and get the cup in just inside. So when it opens, hold the stem, and then you can kind of slide your finger up around the edge of the cup. I don't have one right on me here, sorry. You can kind of slide your finger up around the side of the cup and just press on the side, run your finger around the rim if you can, but usually just pressing on it to get some air in it will make sure the cup opens. If it pops inside pretty quickly, then it almost certainly would have opened up. Which cup was that? I might be able to give you a pretty good idea of whether that cup opened or not. At what point should I worry about large clots? The clot itself fill my cup with no extra blood. and very heavy periods. I empty my enlarged gland every 90 minutes on my period because it gets full like us. That is a very heavy flow, and I would definitely go see a doctor if you can about that, because that's not normal. Those sorts of clots could indicate that you have something called fibroids, and particularly heavy periods, but clots are very common with fibroids, so that's something you need to get investigated. What cup would be best for me? 33, never given birth, quite heavy periods of clots, tight vagina, a little stronger than normal PC muscles. Quite heavy periods is a bit I'm interested in. You want a larger cup for that. If you're quite tight, I would maybe consider the organic cup. It's quite a good cup to get in. You want to go for a cup that's more of a V shape rather than a more like that than that, what we call bell-shaped and U-shaped or V-shaped. They tend to be longer and they tend to work better with that. Also, the Love Your Body cup might be a good one to consider for that. Let's have a look. What are your plans for Christmas? I am, on Christmas Eve, I'm singing at my local church choir, and then I'm going straight on to my parents' house to spend the night there. So, of course, Santa can come. The private joke in my family, because as long as I say Santa, my mum will do a stocking, which I find is quite entertaining. She likes to think I'm still her little baby, so I have no complaints, about having a stocking. But yeah, so that's what that's my plans for Christmas Eve, and then my cousins are coming for lunch Christmas Day, my male cousins, and then hopefully we'll play board games and I don't know, come up with something for the afternoon other than be like the men who will sleep, because that's what they do because they're old. How do you deal with period pains? The endless question of period pains, right? What's in my drawer here? So something you can try if you don't want to take medicine and you've not got really bad pains is ibuprofen gel rubbed in your stomach. More natural supplements, which are always better to start with. You can try a tablespoon of blackstrap molasses in tea. That one actually I found quite, I've seen a lot of people say it's really useful. It didn't work for me, but it might work for you. Magnesium, as I said before, is a good one. Some people say honey and ginger is quite good, especially if you've got a little bit of nausea too. So yeah, let me scroll on. Oh, that's another. We've got a couple of users of blog. Oh, we've got 118 watching now. That's interesting. What's your goal on YouTube? To be perfectly honest, I don't really have one anymore. Like, I kind of reached my goal. It was originally 100,000 subscribers, and now I've hit that. Well, I guess I should aim for 200,000. It's just to keep going and keep spreading awareness. I've got a lot of goals with my business this year, which will also factor into YouTube. You'll probably see me mentioning my business more or talking about things that are happening more, because it's quite exciting what I've got planned. I don't want to share it yet because I don't want to jinx it, touch wood, it all goes to plan. But yeah, I've certainly got quite a few collaborations I'm working on and something exciting that might happen in March, hopefully. So we'll see about that, but certainly no plans to stop. Right, guys, it's coming up to 12:30 now, so I'm going to answer a few more questions. I'm going to kind of scroll through because I haven't I've got kind of far down, but there's still quite a few comments below here. Let me see. I've seen that question. I'm trying to look for different ones here. Oh, this is quite an interesting one. Hi, Brie. I really wanted to start using cloth pads. I'm 14 years old and I have no idea how to ask my mum. I wouldn't be able to wash them myself because I am housebound/bedbound. Any tips? Right, I was actually housebound and bedbound when I started using cloth pads. So the way that I washed them is I had a bucket in my room and I was able to change the pads myself. So I would just change them and put them in this bucket, and then when I'd had either finished with them or I needed to wash them so I'd have some more pads free, I would just fill that bucket with cold water and leave it overnight. Don't put a lid on it or cover it because you'll just keep the musky smell in. Leave it open and it won't smell at all. Then the next morning I would pour the bloody water down the toilet, and I'd literally just take them from my bedroom and I'd put them into the washing machine. Or if you can't do that, something you could do instead is just put the cloth pads in a wet bag and then ask your parent or whoever's looking after you to just unzip the wet bag and put it in the washing machine, as long as they put it on through a cold rinse cycle first and then a longer warm wash at 40 degrees with detergent, and preferably a scoop of OxyClean, like Vanish. then they can take them out and dry them or put them through the dryer, and that should be all that's needed. They won't actually have to touch them, so you can say that, because I think that's a bit that people would be a bit put off by. Okay, I seem to have gone right to the bottom now, so I'm just gonna sort of start there. Someone asking how old I am. I'm 20. Would you recommend a menstrual cup for an extremely low cervix, 3 centimeters? I have a problem with tampons. When it gets all soaked up, it emerges by itself. You might be able to get away with a Maluna Shorty, but I would seriously doubt it. You might be a little bit too low for a cup there, I'm afraid. Sorry. Someone telling me about how they love their menstrual cup. I always love hearing when people like use menstrual cups and experience how life-changing they are, because they're amazing. Fun fact, I ran into someone at my church who apparently has watched my videos, which was really cool to know. And somebody who's helping me design my website, a new website, has also heard of me. So it's bizarre when you hear of people who've when you meet people who have seen your videos or done whatever. Yeah, I sat up one next to someone at a conference once as well. It's really funny. How do you know when you need a new cup? Basically because your cup is either seriously discolored, has a really funky smell to it, or is starting to degrade, as in that there's holes and stuff. That's when you need a new cup, really. But it's personal choice as well. Let me see. Someone with a success story about magnesium. I just started taking magnesium a few months ago. My periods got half the lightness. Is this normal? No cramps now either. Yay. As long as you're still bleeding, yeah, it's normal. Don't worry. How can I talk to my close friends about rumps without seeming like a dork? I love rumps. The best way, I think, is to just sort of, when you're on your period, or if they, girls inevitably make a comment about periods being like, oh, so miserable, you can just go, I know, I'm so glad I switched to cloth pads or menstrual cup or whatever, because now I'm so much more comfortable, they're so much better. Oh my God, have you tried these products out? That's the way I find is best to address it with friends, is to just take that whole, my goodness, have you tried them? They're life-changing approach. Right. 3 more questions and then I'm going to say goodbye. I'm an athlete and I'm struggling using tampons and just doing work. What cup would you use to see my period? You probably want to go for a cup that's too big and is all right to get in. So what cup would I recommend for that? This is part of the problem with having so many cups available now, is that there's so much choice out there. Thinking from, have I cut out? Hopefully not. Let me see. Seems to still be going. Maybe you can hear me. I don't know. Sorry, the connection must just be quite bad. So 16 moderate. I'd probably recommend the small ruby cup. I think that would be quite a good one for you to start with. That's quite a good cup for those sorts of things. Right, 2 more questions. There's quite a few similar ones. That's why I'm just scrolling through to make sure I get one that's a little bit different. Sounds interesting. Could you make a video about period acne or how to figure out eating arrangements to keep your stomach from feeling sick? The best thing, I will try and do one with acne, although I haven't really, well, I mean, I do get spotty from time to time. It's not something that bothers me, so I don't really tend to address it. But with feeling sick, the best thing to do is eat little and often, not to have set meals throughout the day, but to eat little bits at a time. That's how I manage it for me, because with Gilbert syndrome, that's one of the main symptoms, is feeling nauseous if I get too hungry. So I'm very careful with that. Right, okay, Claire Williams, I'm 35. Oh, hang on, let me just check. I'm 35 and I've tried to use a moon cup on 2 periods and I just can't get on with it. I'm finding it out a nightmare to get really squeamish. So what is it that you find a nightmare about it? If it's If it's actually a Moon cup, if it's the brand Moon cup, that's quite a hard cup to use, I find. You might be better off with a cup like a lunette. It's much easier. Squeamishness, you just have to remember God gave us all our bits of the body. It's nothing to be ashamed of, and your life will be much easier if you can figure out how to use that, trust me. Everyone's a bit squeamish at first, but by like the 3rd period of the menstrual cup, I think you're absolutely fine and good to go. Right, because that's kind of something I'm going to be nice, I'm going to do one more. Recommendations for thin reusable panty liners. Ooh. So in the States, I don't know if Putty in My Pants still exists, but they used to be really good for thin. To be honest, in the UK, like my own brand, Precious Stars, they're specifically designed to be really slim. So that's one of them. Who else has slim panty liners? Eco Rainbow is quite slim. Let me think of one more. Who else does really slim? Oh, one of my favorites was County Cloth Creations. They're really good for slim panty liners. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this live event. Seeing all the comments has been great, and there's Caitlin. Thank you for all the suggestions to people. Thank you to everyone helping out with the others in the comment section. And it's great to see. Oh, Lunar Landings are slim, apparently. There you go. I've yet to try them yet, but I've seen them around. Okay. I feel like I really hope you enjoyed it, and we had quite a few people come on in the end, which is great, and only one blip, which is also really great because usually we have more than that. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had a great time, and the rest of you who it's evening for, have a great evening, great morning, great afternoon, wherever you are. And of course, Merry Christmas. I won't have another video up before Christmas. My period's due on Boxing Day, so at least hopefully it skips Christmas, because I don't want to be in pain on Christmas. Don't mind so much Boxing Day. But yeah, period's due on Boxing Day, so the next video on my channel will most likely be a period vlog. On Boxing Day, actually, if I get around to filming that. We'll see. Might be a skip week on that front. But thanks so much for watching, guys. Please subscribe. And actually, you don't need to subscribe because you've already got this. I'm so used to saying it. Can you hear? Anyway, thank you, everyone. Merry Christmas. And I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.